Riley and I are at Sombrio Beach right now, and we're gonna go through a 50 to an hour minute, we'll see how long it takes, yoga practice. So we'll start by laying on our mats in Shavasana. You can find yourself a comfortable seat, somewhere that's fairly quiet, and just start laying on your back. Eyes open or closed here, whatever feels comfortable. It's way too beautiful here to not open our eyes, so that's my choice. So take a few breaths to just connect in with your body, feeling yourself heavy into the earth. And without changing your breath, just noticing how you're breathing. If it's shallow or deep, the quality of your breath. On this next breath out, release all of your air. And then inhale for the deepest, fullest breath you've taken yet today. Hold it at the top and then release with a sigh. One more of those, inhaling nice and deep and long together. And exhale. On your next inhale, draw your arms overhead and then back behind you for a morning stretch. And then start to incorporate some intuitive motion with the arms. You can bring them by your sides, tilting your thumbs down and up. Just moving the shoulder joints a little bit. There is no right or wrong here, just whatever way feels good. You could even roll your wrists out. You might notice some cracking in the joints. And exhale, bring your arms by your sides. On your next inhale, draw your right knee up in towards your chest and give it a hug. Wind relieving pose. Take a few moments to massage the hip joint. Circle in either direction. Start to connect your movement with your breath. Maybe move a little bit slower than feels natural. Exhale, release your right leg down and inhale to draw your left knee into your chest. Going through the same options or slightly different motions if it feels different on this side. Exhale to release both legs down and just take a moment here. On your next inhale, draw both your legs into your chest. Give yourself a big hug. And then option here to lean onto one side and come to a child's pose, or you can grab onto your thighs and just rock and roll gently a few times on your back before you're coming into a child's pose. So arms can come in front or behind you, whatever feels most comfortable here. Your hips sink heavy towards your heels. Option for knees to splay out to the side or hug in together. Just tuning in with our breath here, connecting your forehead to the mat. If it feels good, you can roll your head side to side, or maybe just melt into some stillness here. On your next inhale, slowly in your own time, come into a tabletop position. So wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are under your hips. Again, taking the first few breaths just to move in a way that your body is calling for. Maybe that feels like rotating the spine or moving it side to side. You might want to incorporate some shoulder mobility and even lean forward and back onto your wrists, just waking up the wrist joints. Feeling your fingers spread into the mat to keep your wrists safe. Another breath or two, moving in this way. And then come to a neutral spinal position. On your inhale, drop your belly, lift your hips, lift your gaze. And exhale, angry cat. Round your spine, press through your shoulder blades. Inhale, lift your hips, lift your gaze. Exhale, round. We'll do 2 more of those at your own pace, taking the time to notice the subtleties in your spine. Feel each vertebrae as it rolls forward and back. And then exhale, come to sit back on your heels. Just place your hands on your thighs. And then inhale your right arm up and over towards the left side, coming into a side bend. Exhale your arm down, and then inhale your left arm up and over. I am just facilitating this practice, so if you feel like going at a slower or faster pace, if you want to add any extra movements, please feel free to listen to that. We'll just do 1 more on each side. And then when you're ready, come back to a neutral position. Inhale to raise both arms up for a slight back bend. You can round your back. And then same kind of motion as the cat-cow. You're going to round your spine, come forward. 1 more of those. Inhale to rise. And exhale to round. Place your hands on the mat in front of you into tabletop position once more. And then pressure into the hands, your thumb and index finger rooting into the mat. Tuck your toes, engage your core, and lift your knees just to hover. Couple breaths here, feeling your shoulders round. Core is engaged, navel's drawn in. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. This first down dog, you can take a few breaths to move through the legs, pedal each foot out, rotate the hips, whatever motions your body is asking for today. There is no right or wrong, but move intentionally, try and stay connected with your breath. And then eventually find some stillness in this posture. Hands press firmly into the mat, eyes of the elbows roll in and up to give space to your shoulders. Your sit bones draw high to the sky, and your heels sink towards the mat, but they don't need to touch. Legs are strong with a slight bend in the knee if you're prone to hyperextension. And come to your breath. Inhaling good, positive energy, and exhaling what no longer serves you. On your next inhale, slowly as you'd like, walk your feet towards your hand and come so that your feet are wide on the outsides of your hands. And then sit low into malasana, yogi squat. If your heels need to be off the ground, that's okay. If you can sit low, you can draw your hands to heart center. And then we'll take a few breaths to just let our legs come in and then press with the help of your elbows out, massaging into the hip joint. Option to find stillness, or you can even add in a little bit of a side bend, bringing your left hand towards the ground, inhaling your right arm up towards the right and behind you. Staying for a breath. Exhale, come down, plant your right hand, inhale, left arm up and behind. And exhale, hand to the mat. You can place your hands on the mat and help your hips to rise up for a wide-legged forward fold. Plant your left hand in the middle of your mat. Bend into the left leg and then raise your right arm up towards the sky, keeping the right arm straight. Hold here for a breath or two. Finding length through the upper arm, shoulders are down and relaxed. Exhale, bring the right arm down to the middle of the mat, bend into the right leg. Left leg stays straight as you twist over to the left side. Reaching through the crown of the head and the top fingertips. And exhale, arm comes down. Just taking a moment in this forward fold, you can grab opposite elbows, just release your neck and your spine here. Taking any little motions that feel good for you. On your next inhale, round up and stack one vertebrae on top of the other to slowly come to a standing position, rolling your shoulders up and back at the top. And then find Samastitihi. So feet can be together or apart, toes are spread, legs are strong and stable, slight bend in the knees. Chest here is proud, shoulders are down and relaxed, and your crown is lifted. Your gaze can be soft just over your nose. Your drishti, your gazing point, can really help to focus you in on your own practice. If it feels comfortable, you can notice the difference of how it feels in your body if you close your eyes in this position. You might notice a slight sway. On your next inhale, raise your arms either to the side or forward and up overhead. Gaze towards the fingertips. Exhale, fold over strong legs. Plant the hands on shins or the ground. Inhale to lengthen the spine. And then exhale, hands come down and step back into a plank. Knees down or lower. We'll lower all the way down and move into either a Sphinx pose, or if you're ready like Riley, you can press right up into upward facing dog. Plant your hands, exhale, tuck the toes, and either moving through child's pose, tabletop, or straight back to a downward facing dog. Be here for 3 to 5 breaths, finding that same stable and relaxed position that we did the first down dog. Reaching the sit bones high, drawing the navel in, and coming back to your breath here. At any point in the practice, if it feels like too much, you can always come down to a child's pose like we started off with. Just give yourself a few moments to reconnect your breath. You should never sacrifice breath for a posture. On your next inhale, walk or step between your hands. Inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up, gaze overhead. And exhale, your arms back to Samastitihi. Inhale, sink your hips low. Lift your arms above your heart for a Utkatasana. So tuck the pelvis slightly under, chest is proud. Legs are firing here. Might feel a little burn in the thighs. It's okay, just notice the sensation. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step back maybe with the other foot. And then exhale to lower down through your vinyasa. So if that's knees down, sphinx, maybe you'll go into an up dog this time. Exhale, press back to downward facing dog. On your inhale, raise your right leg up towards the sky, as open as the hips will allow, with keeping the shoulders square. And then exhale the legs so that your hips are square and level here, and feel the difference. Take a breath here. And then on your inhale, draw the right knee towards your nose, keep it high, and then place the right foot between your hands. Drop the left knee down towards the mat and raise the arms up for a low lunge. Breathing here, drawing the left hip slightly forward in space, right hip slightly back. Arms reach towards the sky. Core is engaged to protect the spine. If you'd like to take a slight back bend here, you can take that option or not. And then exhale, plant your hands, lift your left knee off the mat. Stable and grounded here, we rise up to a high lunge. Option to stay here or moving with your breath. You can exhale, open, left arm comes forward, right arm back for a lunge twist. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, opening to the opposite side. Inhale to rise. And one more on each side. Exhale to twist. All right, straighten through the right leg. Plant your left heel down, so it's at a 45-degree angle, toes slightly in. Draw your arms to a T. Left hip comes back in space, right arm draws forward, and then exhale into your version of triangle pose. So right hand can be on the shin. You might pop a step forward a little if you want to grab the big toe. Draw the hips so that they're facing towards the left side. Arms are spreading away from each other. Neck is long. Your hips are even here, so if you're in between a pane of glass, whoa. Come back to your breath. On your inhale, rise up. Turn your right toes in. Clasp your hands behind your back or bring them to your hips. Open your chest. And then exhale to fold for wide-legged forward fold. Slight bend in the knees here. Again, if you're prone to hyperextension, just relax your head down towards the mat. Arms come overhead. Equal pressure in both feet. Navel is drawn in. On your next inhale, engage the core to halfway lift and pause. And then on your next inhale, rise all the way up. Turn your right toes, bend into the knee, and then plant your hands down, stepping the right foot back into a plank. Option here to go straight to a down dog or to move through a vinyasa. Inhaling to rise, pressing through the tops of your feet and your palms, chest broadens. And exhale, step back. Downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise the left leg up to the sky, open the hips up to the side. And then exhale, hips come to level. Foot draws straight out behind you. Inhale, knee to nose, keep the leg high, and then place the left foot between your hands, dropping the right knee down. Inhale, low lunge. This time the right hip draws slightly forward, left back. Heart lifts through. Release tension wherever you don't need to be holding it. So release your jaw and your palate. Your shoulders are relaxed. Exhale, plant your hands, tuck your back toes, and then rise up when you're grounded and stable into a high lunge. Option here to find a few breaths of stillness, or if it feels good, you can exhale, twist left arm behind you, right arm forward. Inhale to come forward. Exhale, twist the opposite direction. Moving nice and slowly here. Anytime you're doing any kind of balance work, if you try and rush it, that's usually when fall out of the postures. Exhale, and then straighten the left leg. Arms come to a T, moving into our triangle. So the right toes tuck slightly in, right hip comes back, left arm forward, and exhale, triangle pose. Left arm is reaching towards the ground and your shin, or maybe grabbing your big toe. Right arm rises towards the sky, chest opens to the right side. If it feels uncomfortable to gaze up towards the fingertips, you can just look straight and hit up ahead of you. Breathing deep. Feeling what this posture has to offer you today. Just noticing the fluctuations of the mind and bringing yourself back to the sensation in the breath. On your next inhale, slight bend in that front knee. Rise up, turn your toes in once more. And then take the opposite position with the arms, either hips or drawed behind you. And then exhale to fold over strong legs for wide-legged forward folds. If any other arm variation feels good, you can take that, of course. Maybe bring your hands down to the mat or grab for opposite heel. Always freedom in these practices to take what you need. So if something feels good and you want to either melt into stillness and connect with your breathing, or you'd like to move around a little and see what that feels like, you can take those options. On your inhale, halfway lift. Hold for your exhale. Inhale, rise all the way up. Turn your left toes and come to stand at the top of your mat. Samastitihi, just checking back in. On your next inhale, raise your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold. Inhale to lengthen the spine long, and then plant the hands and step your left foot back. Planting the left heel down, foot comes at a 45-degree angle. Inhale to rise up to warrior two. So strong bend into that front knee, about 90-degree angle. Weight is even between your legs. Chest opens up to the side. Fingers are spread apart from each other, and your energy is grounded but rising. Notice if your weight is drawing forward, and draw your chest and your shoulders right over top of your hips. Right knee draws out to the side slightly. And then exhale for extended side angle, either right forearm on right knee, left arm comes overhead. Or if it feels good, you can bring the right hand to the inside or the outside of your right foot. Either way, you're extending and strengthening out from the left heel all the way through the left fingertips. Chest is opening up towards the side. One more breath here. Inhale to rise back up to warrior two. Clasp behind your back. You can take a moment to straighten that right leg. And then bend into that right knee, melting forward for exalted warrior. So the chest is right next to the right thigh. Releasing forward, drawing the arms up towards the sky, feeling some space in between your shoulders. Inhale to rise up. And then exhale, release the hands all the way down to the mat. Step back and either go back to a downward facing dog or your option for a vinyasa here. Inhale, collarbone spread. Exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, raise the left leg and then tuck the knee towards your chest. Plant the right foot down at a 45-degree angle and rise up to a warrior two. Strong bend into the left knee this time. Same adjustments as the other side, assuming that things feel even, and they don't always from one side to the other. Gaze is soft over the front fingertips, and breath here is steady. Welcome the shakes. Another breath or two here, depending on the pace of your breathing. And then exhale, left arm to left thigh, or left hand can come all the way down. Extend the right arm overhead. Extended side angle on the left side. You can think about drawing your right shoulder down your back. Drawing energy up through the legs. Uddiyana Bandha. Your locks, your navel's drawn in, your pelvic floor is engaged here. That can really help build heat and strength in these postures. And then soften into the places where you're able. On your inhale, rise up to a warrior two. Feel the burn in that thigh for one moment. And then extend the leg for a bit of respite. Clasp the hands behind your back. And when you're ready, bend back into that front leg for a humble warrior on this side. Tendency might be to press into that front leg. Think about grounding into the outer edge of the right foot, keeping the weight even between your legs here. Each inhale, finding a little more space through the shoulders. Each exhale, softening your chest a little bit deeper. And then your inhale, rise up. And then bring your hands back towards the mat. Step back. Option for down dog or a vinyasa here to keep the heat. Meeting back in downward facing dog. And then taking either a moment in child's pose, grabbing a sip of water if you need, or just holding your down dog for a moment. Either way, connecting in with your breath. Notice if your mind is running, and just bring it back to right here, right now. Nothing else to do in this moment. And your next inhale, or when you're ready, come back to a tabletop position. And then make your way to a standing posture. If you want to welcome a forward fold before you get there, you can do that. If you want to take any fancy little movements to get there, you can take those options. And just meet in Samastitihi. Bringing stability into the right leg. We're going to work on balance here. So draw the left knee into your chest. And then we'll take a few breaths to rotate the hip. So draw the knee out to the side. You could even draw the toe down towards the ground and tap it in front and behind you. Inhale the knee back to your chest, either staying here for a modified Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana, or you can grab your left toe with your peace fingers, extend the leg as much as you're able. You don't need to straighten it. Draw the left shoulder back in space. Press through the standing leg, proud chest. Inhale, leg can come out to the side. If you'd like to take that option, you could gaze over your right shoulder. If you fall out, it's okay. Just welcome the shakes. Know that if you are falling out, you're just challenging your balance and you're going to be stronger for it. So come back in. Inhale the leg back to center. Exhale, either bent knee or straight leg will hold for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, release. Stable through the left leg, taking whatever motions you need to before raising your right knee in towards your chest. And then working the hip on this side, drawing the knee out to the side, toe tapping behind you and in front of you. Inhale your knee to your chest, either clasping the knee for that modified version or lengthening the leg out in front of you. Left hand can come to your left hip. Right shoulder draws back in space. Slight bend in that left knee. And your crown can reach towards the sky. Gaze is stable on one point here. Face is soft. Inhale your your right leg over to the right side. This time, gaze can come over that left shoulder. Moving nice and slow so you don't throw your balance off. Inhale your leg back to center. Knee straight or bent, whatever option you need. Hold for a moment, bringing both hands to your hips for 3, 2, 1. Release, and then just shake it out. Slap some mosquitoes if you're outside. Inhale your arms up overhead, and exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen the spine long, reaching through the crown. Exhale, plant your hands down and then step back to a plank, lowering all the way down to your belly, really nice and slowly, strengthening the whole way down, elbows in towards your side, and then lower down. Hands can stay where they are, feet can tuck so the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat. Engage your legs and then lift your heart through, keeping your gaze low. Breathing here in Shalambhasana. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. This time, taking the pressure off your hands. You can take any option with the arms. Arms can come in front. They can clasp behind your back. Reach out to the side. And then option to lift the legs as well. Strengthening our back muscles here. Careful not to crank your neck, so gaze just gently in front of you. Exhale, release down. Breathing here. Option to stay here if that feels like enough for you, or you can bend into your knees. If you're able to reach for your heels on your next inhale, you can press into your legs, pushing and pulling with your legs and arms, coming into a bow pose. Knees are coming slightly together. Shoulders are opening up. Exhale, release down. You put a cheek to the mat, you can put your opposite cheek. Might feel good to wiggle out the hips here, just releasing the glutes and the low back. Feel your heart beating for you here, and just feel some gratitude for those systems in our body, our breath, our heart, that work for us without us really needing to do anything. On your next inhale, lift your face or forehead off the mat. Bring your hands by your side, and then coming through tabletop, child's pose, or pressing through a little push-up, we're going to press back to downward facing dog. Option here to walk your feet slowly up between your hands, cross your ankles and sit, or if you'd like to try a jump through, you can take that option, crossing your legs, and then sitting onto your bum, legs extend in front of you. Press your hands into the mat by your hips. Crown lifts, legs are strong into the mat. Dandasana, staff pose. This pose is active. Your lower belly is drawn in, core is engaged. Exhale, release, leading with your heart first. Coming into any version of a forward fold that feels good for you today. Doesn't matter how far your hands are reaching in front of you. They can be On your knees, your shins, grabbing at toes, just lengthening through the crown. And with each breath, sinking a little bit deeper, just releasing into the posture. If it feels good, you can welcome just a slight arch in your spine here, coming into a more passive version. One more breath here. On your next inhale, rise up. Everyone's favorite posture, do Navasana. So knees come into your chest, your legs can stay bent here. Arms can come out in front of you. If you'd like, you can challenge yourself by straightening the legs out. And then find a position where you're not just dumping into the strength of your quads. You're actually using your core to hold you up. So your chest is proud and lifted. If you'd like, you could play with lowering down and doing low boat, and then coming up to high boat. I love that one. I always get some nice cracks in my hips there. Another 2 breaths, either in high boat or slowly moving from low to high. And we'll cross our ankles, plant your hands, lift your hips and your feet off the mat, even just for a moment. And then inhale, come back to boat. This time the option is to either in low or high boat come onto your right glute. You might do a few motions here. Welcome the struggle. Everyone loves core work, I know. Especially in the morning. And then move over to your left glute. Draw in, find stability, or say screw you, Dimitra, and lay down on your mat. Cross your ankles, press the intention of lifting, and then one more. We won't hold it as long. All right, on your next exhale, release all the way down to the mat. Just take a moment here, laying on your back, taking any emotions that your body is calling for. If you would like one more vinyasa, you can take that, but I'm not going to cue it. You just have a few moments here to take that option if your body's asking for it. Might want to take a little bit longer in your Sphinx pose if you are taking that option. All right, she inspired me doing it. And then same option to either try the jump through, maybe jump so that your ankles are crossed, and then sit back, legs extend in front of you, and then slowly lower back onto your backs. Couple choices here. More gentle inversion is to just have your legs up towards the sky. For women on their period, this might be the best option for you today. But if you would like to, it's your body. You can listen to what it is asking for. If you'd like, you can come into a shoulder stand. So bending into your knees, your hips will rise up. Tuck the shoulders in, and then pressurize your hands on your low back to stabilize you so that you can lift your legs up to the sky. Energy is rising up through the feet. Inversions are a great way to flush your lymphatic system. Make sure that you're not looking around here. And notice if you have trouble breathing. Maybe come out of the posture, back off a little bit. Make sure you have some space for your neck here. Option to stay for a breath or two longer, or to bring your toes overhead for halasana. Arms can clasp behind your back, or press your eyes on the mat behind you. And then when you're ready, using that pressure of the arms to slowly lower your hips and legs down to the mat, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. So feet can come together, knees splay out to the side. If it feels good, you can rock the hips a little side to side, or take some butterfly action with the legs. Take a nice deep release of air, sigh out your mouth. Bring your left hand to your heart, right hand to your belly. Feel your breath moving through your rib cage and your belly. On your next inhale, draw the knees together. Feet can come just outside of your mat, knees drawing in towards each other. You may have noticed I like to give lots of options. Option here is to draw the knees into your chest, move your hips slightly over to the right and draw your legs to the left, or you can cross your right leg over top of your left for eagle legs, and then move your hips over to the right. Knees can come down and relax over to the left side. Right shoulder is rooted into the mat, and the gaze can be up towards the sky or just over the right shoulder for a full spinal twist. Just embracing the sounds that you hear around you. Tuning into your senses can help bring you to the present moment. Inhale, knees come back to center, uncross the legs, left arm over right. Hips shift over to the left side, and your knees can come down to the right. This time your left shoulder will root. Maybe it doesn't touch. You might notice that when we do things, it feels a little bit different from one side to the other. It's okay, it's normal. On your next inhale, draw the knees back to center. Grab onto the bottoms of your feet, drawing your knees towards the ground for a happy baby. I always love to rotate my knees and my hips a little bit in this one. You can straighten one leg and then the other if that feels nice. And then any final movements that you like to make this practice feel complete for you, you have the space to do that now. I am pretty ready to eat breakfast and go sit out on the beach. So I'm going to lay down into a Shavasana. When you're ready to do that, you can just let your legs splay out in either direction. Tuck your shoulders under. Release your arms by your side. Any props here that you'd like to help make you feel super comfy and cozy in our final resting pose, corpse pose. And flutter the eyes closed here. And just release any control that you had over your breath. Just allowing it to move freely. Taking the time here to absorb all the work that you just did and incorporate that into your being. If you have the time, I would suggest staying in Shavasana for 5 to 7 minutes. If you feel rushed, maybe stay for 10. So I will shut the video off here, but please feel free to stay as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you very much for Riley for allowing me to facilitate that class and for being videoed. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Please feel free to leave any comments, share. See you next time.